Imagine a place like a home, like a family. A big family, with aunts and uncles and lots of visitors stopping by, helping out. And kids, lots of kids. Babies, toddlers, grade schoolers, teenagers. Lots of kids. Like these kids, these faces, these eyes. And now imagine that the place is not there. No home, no family, no aunts and uncles, no visitors, no help. And no kids, no babies, no toddlers, no grade schoolers, no teenagers, not here. Simply not here. Now here's the good news. There is a place like you imagined, full of kids, full of friends, full of life, full of light. It sits on a mountain not far from the city of Tegucigalpa in Honduras. Actually, not far from here. It's called the Mountain of Light, Moñtana de Luz. It's a place where kids, most of them orphans, with HIV and/or AIDS live. Underline the word live. Now here's the not-so-good news. This place doesn't have to be here. They don't have to be here. They don't have to be. There's no giant charity funding everything, no government guarantees that this place will survive, that the kids will have all they need. There's just a group of people who care. Volunteers that built the place, donors that pay for it, friends that support Moñtana de Luz however they can. They are not the rich and powerful, unless you're talking in Honduran terms, but we'll get to that later. They're just a group of people who want to do something and who are grateful that they found a place and a way to do it.
It's unreal. It's unlike anything else. The sky just seems so much bigger. And then as soon as you look down, you're faced with such incredible poverty.
Honduras is a very poor country. If we rank ourselves, we find that we are the second to the poorest country in Latin America and the Caribbean. After us, there is only Haiti. We in Honduras have a grave problem. At this moment, there are 20 or 21,000 children orphans because their parents have died of AIDS. The capital of HIV-infected people in North and Central America is precisely San Pedro Sula, which is a city in Honduras. The next city in terms of HIV infection is precisely Tegucigalpa, the capital of Honduras. In other words, we have the highest rate of people infected with HIV. Unfortunately, in Honduras, we are hit hard by poverty. We have a very high unemployment rate, so it's a very difficult economic situation. Because of this, many of these orphan children go to the streets. And it is these children who have no possibilities, no relatives. They're the ones that end up at Moñtana de Luz. I believe that places like Moñtana de Luz are not only necessary, they are indispensable.
We actually started as a hospice for children because at that time antiretroviral therapy was so outrageously expensive that we couldn't afford to provide that for our children. So we were a hospice and we took care of kids that were going to eventually die. And that's how we began and did that for a while. And then our first child died in 2002, which just was a kick in the gut to everybody. She was a beautiful little 2-year-old girl, and when she died, we said we can't have this. So we did some research. The drugs have become much more affordable, and at that point we made the decision to begin providing antiretroviral therapy for our kids.
So there are many people who think that we are only giving them a plate of food or a garment and waiting until they die. No, that is not what we are waiting for at Moñtana de Luz.
And so while we do still from time to time provide hospice care, because sometimes we'll get a child who is too advanced in their disease and there's just no turning that around, but much more often we are providing a home for kids who are living with this disease.
I love the idea that right now, where we had our morgue, it's now a computer lab. I mean, just that thought, that vision of how things are changing and death going to life, and I think that's such a beautiful picture of what's actually happening here.
Now that our children are living instead of dying, we've got the wonderful responsibility of educating them, providing them with job training, teaching them about being responsible for their disease so they don't pass this on to other people, giving them life skills.
We hope that one day they will be professional and asset to their country. We hope to integrate them truly into society.
This disease isn't that old, and really rarely has there been a group that's been so cared for since the early stages of their life. This really represents a tremendous learning opportunity for a lot of third world countries as to how these children are going to have to be prepared to deal with their illness the rest of their life, to deal with how they take care of themselves physically and emotionally. And it's an exciting opportunity to be around to see that. So why do anything if you can't really tackle the whole problem? Well, I think people with vision refuse to view the world that way. 30 lives are pretty important, and they're certainly pretty important to the 30 people you're dealing with.
There's so many good things that happen with the mission teams. People get something out of it. The kids love the relationships with the folks that come down. We get projects done. From the youngest, from the teenagers that I've taken down to the oldest people. It's a trip that really impacts lives. It impacts the lives of the folks that go, which is the surprise for them. It also impacts the lives of the children and the staff there. To see this labor of love, because our groups work hard, but by far, ask anybody who's been down there, they will say that they've received much more than they've given.
Imagine a place like a home, like a family. A big family with lots of kids, lots of friends. Now imagine yourself, one of the friends, part of the family. Imagine that you can make a difference, a real lifelong difference. Just imagine.
Who speaks for these children? Who's going to take care of these kids? Who's going to love these children? We've got to, because if we don't, there is nobody else that'll do it. So we have to.
Standing next to the entrance of Moñtana de Luz is a cross. It was made by one of the early volunteer groups. They gathered up debris, the rejected stuff, and formed it into this. You don't have to be told how powerful this symbol is, how right it is. Moñtana de Luz is a place that redeems the lives of the weakest, the forgotten of the forgotten, the most powerless, the most marginalized. It's a place that allows us to be church, to do love, and ourselves, in a real way, to be redeemed.